Hello, my name is Sherry Sickmiller. I'm Morgan Bauer's mother. I will be here for no more than 1 hour. I also care for my grandmother, so I apologize if there are any interruptions. I am searching for Morgan and I need your help. I'm going to give as much detail as possible regarding her case. There are some things that I will not say to simply protect her case. After the pages I'm about to read, I will answer questions. Please save them for the end, as I may answer your questions here. We can avoid repetition, and I will not be able to respond until then. I'm just reading. I'm kind of new at this. I want to let you know now that I will ignore any hurtful or disrespectful remarks. On March 10th, 2016, Morgan's best friend Taryn contacted me because she had not heard from Morgan since February 25th, 2016. We spoke for some time and she told me her version of what happened up until that day. FYI, Morgan was upset with me due to some normal mother and daughter issues, including the fact that I did not want her to go to Atlanta. She told me she was moving there with 2 roommates, which I later found out was not true. Per Taryn, Morgan received a ride to Minneapolis Airport and flew into Atlanta. She had planned to stay with a man and his 2 roommates in exchange for cleaning until she got a job. The evening she arrived, the 4 of them went to dinner at a restaurant. The following day, Morgan went to work, and upon arriving back at the Craigslist home, she found all of her belongings outside with a note not to return. Morgan then contacted Taryn. I apologize. After arriving at the Craigslist home, she found all of her belongings outside with a note not to return. Morgan contacted Taryn, upset, not knowing what to do. She stated she last spoke to Morgan via Skype on February 25th. Morgan had just got it that day and was excited, telling Taryn she would talk to her later. Morgan had also dropped off social media sites on the 25th, which is completely out of character. Morgan is very outgoing and loves to share her excitement in life. Morgan's last Facebook post is that of her stating, "I work here," with a photo of Tease nightclub in Atlanta, Georgia. After talking to Taryn, I contacted Tease nightclub. Morgan had never worked there. From there, I contacted Atlanta Homicide and Missing Persons. My first obstacle was to have to prove that Morgan had arrived in Atlanta, and Facebook wasn't enough. Within a day, I was able to prove that Morgan was driven to Minneapolis by a friend who gave her $20 because she had no money. He took her to the airport, where she boarded on February 12, 2016 at 7:06 a.m. She flew into O'Hare Airport in Chicago and boarded for Atlanta at 1:04 p.m. She did land in Atlanta. On March 15, 2016, my husband and myself flew to Atlanta, Georgia. We arrived at 11:01 a.m. We went to our hotel room and prepared to hit the streets of Atlanta. An amazing woman, Dawn, offered to drive us as we began our search. I dressed to fit into the nightclub scene as we took a stack of posters determined to hit every exotic dance club possible. I received a call from another amazing woman named Casey with For Sarah, a nonprofit group that helps dancers and prostitutes to change their lives and find safety if needed. Most of the accounts in this statement are from a report that she wrote to Morgan's detective at the time. She said she would take us around to clubs as she knows a lot of the house moms in Atlanta through her work. We met her around 9:30 p.m. We got in the car. Casey had 2 other women from her church with her. We headed toward one of the clubs on Roswell Road, but during this time, I received a call from Jay, the owner of Club Tees. He stated the girl that Morgan came in with on the 25th had come back inside the club. He kept them in the office until we arrived. When we got to the club, we walked in and 2 Caucasian individuals were sitting down in the office. At the time, we had only got the girl's name. They both said they could not remember the name of the hotel they picked up Morgan. The girl said she met Morgan on Main Stage Strip Club in Roswell Road, where she came in to get a job. They became friends and started to hang out. She said the last time she saw Morgan was the night of the 25th, when a guy picked her up in a car. She did not know this man except that he was a black gentleman. Apparently, Morgan met him on the app Tinder, and per this couple, she met guys on there. They also said Morgan kept talking about moving to Tennessee, and per her boyfriend, believes she just ran off. However, this woman's boyfriend's story did not make sense. She said she did not hear from Morgan, and the next day and almost filed a missing persons report. Per this woman, Morgan told her she did not have family and her parents were in prison. The woman said she called a friend to ask if he had seen Morgan, but Morgan had not heard from either. The woman said Morgan put this guy's number in her phone as an alternative number to reach her. Casey asked the woman for the friend's phone number and she called him. He said he talked to Morgan every day, but he had not heard from her since February 25th at midnight. He says Morgan was last seen with this couple and went to their home. I will not be mentioning the city that they reside in, simply because I don't want people going there and damaging possible evidence. He said nothing. He said nothing. Excuse me. He said he received a text message from Morgan on February 26th at 12 a.m. It said, "Made nothing tonight, only $50. Need to get to the other club tomorrow." He replied, "Hit me up as soon as you get up," at 8:05 a.m. Then he sent her another text at 11:06 a.m., 12:46 p.m., 4:47 p.m. Morgan never replied to his messages. He also said that Morgan and the woman left the Club Tees on the night of the 25th and went to Top of Gainesville Strip Club to work. We do not feel this gentleman had anything to do with Morgan being missing. He seems like he was trying to help her. He did confirm he and a friend took Morgan the first night she worked at Top of Gainesville and paid for her hotel room for 4 days so she could work. He said Morgan started hanging out with this couple and he felt they were bad news. He said the woman told him that Morgan passed out in the truck on the way home from the club. Then she told him that Morgan woke up with a lot of energy and got on the Tinder app and talked to some guy that came and picked her up in a car. The only concern that the gentleman had was a few days prior, and this is her friend, Morgan was supposed to meet him and return the hotel key back. The woman told him that she could not give him the address to the house where they were staying because it would not be picked up on GPS. But this night in the car, the man was able to pick up Morgan at their house. We later spoke to the boyfriend's local police chief and he spoke to the woman's boyfriend. He stated she was taken to a Citgo gas station in Covington and was not picked up from his house. The local police also stated the boyfriend is a cutter, so that's why there were scratches on his arms. Jay, the owner of Tees, had pointed them out to us. We left Tees. We were going to drive to Top of Gainesville to see what we could find out. However, we decided to call the club instead. The lady that answered the phone did confirm that Morgan was working there and had a couple of guys and girls with and was left with a couple of guys and a girl with really short hair. This girl was the woman we had just met at Tees. When we hung up the phone, Casey called the woman and asked her when the last time she was at top of Gainesville. She denied ever being there. She acted like she didn't know what Casey was talking about. During this conversation, her boyfriend became very agitated and told her to hang up. The woman said she had to go and Casey to call back the next day. The woman called Casey back within a few minutes and said that she had been at top of Gainesville, but it was on not on the 25th, but on the 19th and the 20th. However, I visited the top of Gainesville on March 18th to speak with the staff there. They stated Morgan did work there and danced as Sasha. February 17th was the first night she began working at the club. The last night she worked at the club, on the 25th, she left with the woman and possibly a black gentleman in a truck. On several occasions between February 25th and March 10th, the woman shares several photos and statements on her Facebook page about... Sorry about that, having a little signal trouble. As I was saying, I visited top of Gainesville on March 18th to speak to the staff there. They stated that Morgan did work there and danced as Sasha. February 17th was the first night she began working at the club. The last night she worked at the club was on the 25th. She left with the woman and possibly a black gentleman in a truck. On several occasions between February 25th and March 10th, the woman shares several photos and statements on her Facebook page about killing and the excitement of death. Morgan was waiting for her IRS refund check from H&R Block. She knew prior to leaving for Atlanta and was waiting for it to be put on one of their cards. The club owner at Tees also said that Morgan offered to pay for the woman's work permit and have her repay Morgan back after she worked. The woman showed up on March 15th at the club with the money for her permit. You need a permit to be an exotic dancer in Atlanta, Georgia. I went to Main Stage Coronet Club on March 18th to see if Morgan had worked there because the woman originally said she met Morgan at Main Stage. Per management, Morgan had not worked there, but the other woman had worked at the club. They stated her boyfriend suffered from seizures and was extremely psychotic and had been kicked out of their club. They also stated that someone needs to get the woman away from her boyfriend because he's crazy. The club was able to confirm the woman's real name. The boyfriend's arrest record includes fleeing or attempting to elude police officers, driving without headlights in the dark, driving while license suspended or revoked, first offense, reckless driving. He has a history of assault with a screwdriver. Also, while the local police station mentioned a vampire case with the boyfriend. Supposedly a lady came into the police station asking to press charges against him. They said she would not give a lot of details, but ended up dropping the charges. A request was made for Morgan's phone records, and the last location pinged was in the town where these people lived. There were phone calls to her number after 2/26/16, but she never called out. The police were called The police were called while we were at the club, but they never came. The story takes a turn around Easter 2016. Trolls, Morgan's older sister, friends wishing they were speaking to Morgan, and conniving teenagers turned Morgan's case into a fiasco. People were saying horrible things that were not true, confusing the case and leaving questions as to whether Morgan is actually missing. The awful things being said and repetition of questions led to a panic within my family, and through them trying to defend and protect me, They deleted a lot of posts and repetitious questions as well as hearsay. Every lead was forwarded to authorities. Yes, a woman claiming to be Morgan did speak to me. This person could not answer any of the 3 questions I asked that only Morgan would know, and she would not play the Eminem song that Morgan listened to while I was in prison. She stated she was going to apply for jobs at a restaurant and would message me the next day. No message. We went to the town where she claimed to be applying for jobs at. We went to every restaurant. No Morgan. You need a permit to be a server in Georgia. We continued searching through devastation, lack of help from authorities, not knowing where else to look, and the pain of those in my community and around the world being so cruel. My son needing me at home. We stayed through Morgan's birthday and flew back to Aberdeen, South Dakota, April 14th, 2016. I had hired a private investigator while in Atlanta, T.J. Ward. He was supposedly in charge of the Natalee Holloway case. I will share his invoice in the comments. He has done little work to find Morgan. During our time in Atlanta, Morgan's detective and I did not see eye to eye. I felt he was not doing his job. He had not spoken to the last people to see Morgan, and it had been a month. After some time, we just never heard anything. I would call Atlanta Police Department with no return call. There was a point where no one was on Morgan's case. Last August, I called Internal Affairs to report these issues. They finally spoke to the woman, but it is my understanding that I am not positive whether they spoke to the boyfriend. They are no longer in Georgia. The FBI, GBI, Georgia Bureau of Investigations, the boyfriend's local police department, and volunteers with search dogs have all offered to help with Morgan's case, but Atlanta Police Department is refusing to invite them in. The people in charge of my daughter's case are not doing their job. Without Atlanta Police Department simply saying, yes, you can help with these countless volunteers like Cynthia with Lost and Missing, Morgan's case is and will remain one of 15 cold cases in Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta Police Department states they have a large caseload, but refuses help. They state they believe Morgan is above ground, with no proof. This is where I need your help. I need as many people as possible to call Atlanta Police Department Homicide and Missing Persons and ask them why. Why aren't you letting other departments and jurisdictions help? Why are you not speaking to the last people that were with Morgan? Why are you not returning phone calls from other police departments or Morgan's mother? Why have others done more due diligence under the table for Morgan's case than you have? I know this is time out of your day, and I am grateful in advance. I can't do this alone. I've tried. Their phone number is 404-546-4235. Ask for Detective Brown. I have never spoken to this detective. No return calls. Morgan is not in trouble. In fact, she is desperately loved. But if she chooses to stay away for any reason, she just needs to identify herself to an officer and she can walk away. Thank you in advance. I will now be open to answering questions. And again, I will not respond to anyone who is being hurtful or disrespectful. So I'm going to try to go back here and see if I can help. Deirdre Somerville, yes, the people are no longer in the city. We do know, however, what states they are in. As many people who are willing to search and share are welcome, because I need to get Morgan's face out there. I'm not sure about Tamron Hall. Some people have sent me things about her. I think she's with one of the podcasts, and people were going to post with her, and I have not heard back. The body that was found in the suitcase in Gwinnett County was officially not Morgan. I had to send dental records that day. It was the longest night of my life in order to prove that it wasn't her. And thank goodness for me, it wasn't her. It was a Hispanic woman, and my heart goes out to her family. I hired a private detective that didn't do his job. In fact, I said I will post in the comments section when I'm able to the invoice given to me by him, so you can see that he didn't do any work, and I paid him $2,000 of the GoFundMe money, of the $5,000 that was there total, but of course that money was used for hotel rooms and food and being able to just be in Atlanta. So thank you for everyone who donated to GoFundMe, even though I knew there were some questions about that. I'm really grateful. I would not have been able to be there as long as I was without you. If you send a link or private message me a link for the ID channel where Tamron Hall is, I would be grateful. The problem is Chris Polk about going around them and not telling them is that the evidence may not be able... Sorry about that. I don't have very good signal. Chris Polk, once again, the reason that you can't just go around them is that any evidence then that is found may not be able to be used in court. So we have to follow jurisdiction in that sense. Officer Brown is in Atlanta, missing homicide. Call the phone number that I gave you. I can tell you it's on Peachtree, which if you live in Atlanta doesn't really help you. I have been on several TV and news stations in Atlanta, Georgia, as well as in Aberdeen and in the news. On her birthday just 6 months ago, I did an interview then in Atlanta, and there was a newspaper article done, I believe, as well. I completely understand the screw permission thing. I'm pretty much there. That's why I'm on here. I'm trying to do this the right way, even though some people are saying this isn't the right way. When your child is missing, a warrior heart tends to build up inside of you, and you just will do anything. I'm sorry I'm reading down what people have posted. Thank you for all the prayers and all the thoughts. I'm truly grateful. Namis does have her complete profile. We've given DNA as well as dental records. I actually asked the detective in Atlanta to take those samples before we left, and he said no, he didn't need them. And when the suitcase ordeal came about, we sent all the information and made sure Namis had it then. I would be happy to do any viral shows. The Missing Voice show with Judy Newman, I would be thrilled. The more people that we talk to and hear about my daughter, the more people have the opportunity to see her. Could I hire a new PI? I actually have some people out there that are willing to volunteer their time to do some private investigating work. And so we're trying to kind of work with them. But again, it works with jurisdiction, and even private investigators need to work with law enforcement, unfortunately. A lot of people brought up Dr. Phil last year, but I don't know how he could help in a missing persons case. But if you think he can, call him, send me a link. I'm happy to do and talk to whoever. Do I believe Morgan is still in Georgia? That's a hard answer to give you because there are some things that I feel need to be done, because I have a strong feeling that I'm unable to talk about. I just keep hoping. Veronica, I'm not sure what that is. Gina, that would help Dr. Phil's exclusive producer. If you know him, please help. Thank you for all the kind words. I just am trying to figure out any way to find my daughter. And I appreciate all of your help. I appreciate you all being here, truly. I haven't actually been thinking about making a trip back. That depends on a few different things. Again, I'm my grandmother's caregiver, so it's difficult to get away. My son doesn't want me to be gone for another month, but I feel there's a couple things that I need to do there, and so we'll see what will be coming up soon. If I do go to Georgia, I will be posting so that you know I'm there. I've applied to several shows. I've emailed countless people over the last year and a half, to the point where I don't even know who I have emailed anymore. Thank you. Thank you. Nancy Grace, I know I did send her a message but never heard back. Thank you, Amanda. Rebecca Joe. Thank you, everyone. There is a possibility that she could have been trafficked. That is one of the scenarios. Of course, she is either no longer with us, which is what I pray that that's not true, being trafficked, and or just being 21 now and enjoying her life and being silly and goofy, and I kind of hope that that's what's happening. Thank you for all the nice things. No, as far as I know, they didn't do anything with any of the trolls or any of the people. I know the police did contact some of them, and they weren't very happy about that. But that did happen, especially with a girl that was here in South Dakota that didn't know Morgan, who was causing a lot of trouble. She ended up being talked to because there was a lot of confusion as to why she had any part in what had happened. Thank you for all the prayers again. Oh, you just joined. What's going on? This, when I end this cast, will stay on the page, so you can go back and listen to it if you want to. I'm speaking about my daughter that's missing, and mostly the work that has not been done in order to help find her through the Atlanta Police Department. And I'm asking people to call to kind of light a fire so that they actually begin and they actually start working on my daughter's case. And there's a lot of people who are offering their help, and they're just not letting them in and offering them that opportunity. And that's something that needs to be done. Broadcast protests. I'm not sure, Deirdre, what you mean by that, but you're welcome to private message me and give me a little bit more information. If you know me at all, I kind of am into protesting, so I'm down for that. I was actually told the other day that now I'm not going to be able to tell you the right percentage. I hope Miss Riley was able to do this for me, of people that oops, I'm sorry, I lost my place here. It moved up. Oh, because the police dropped the ball. She said it was like 90, and I can't remember exactly the percentage, but it was like 87% of all missing cases are actually solved by families and not the police department. And I'm probably off with that percentage because she told me it once, and it was during a very long conversation. And thank you, Mom. I agree. My daughter would not miss birthdays and Christmas. And what teenager doesn't need a couple bucks, right? From Mom. And that was Morgan. We were very close. So no contact is just not like her. Even when she was mad, I was still Mom. Yes, it seems like they're always off, and that just is true. Thank you for leaving the message, Jennifer. I appreciate it. Explanation point. I have spoken to psychics and left messages for mediums, but no one really responds. So I don't know what to say. If you know of a psychic who's willing to give it a try, let me know. I'm down for whatever. If anybody can point me in the right direction, I don't care if you're purple with antennas. If you think you know where she's at, I'll listen to you. Thank you, Gina. I would be happy to speak to anyone. Thank you all for asking about psychics. I have. Uh, there have been a lot of posts. I actually belong to medium and psychic groups, and there have been a lot of live posts lately, and that's kind of what gave me the idea to do this. However, no one's responded with wanting to help me, and so I just keep going. Thank you, Veronica. I appreciate that. She has not had any contact on Facebook. Everything went completely dead, completely silent. She was on Snapchat. She was on several different sites. Just completely gone. Thank you. I'm down to protest. I'll make your signs for you. Yes, and if anybody, again, Nancy Grace, my mother actually reached out not too long ago for people to call and leave messages there to speak with her. Please, again, I'm not a person who asks for help. Can ask my mom and my best friend. It's kind of something I... There we go. Sorry about that. So I really, truly am grateful for all of your help. Anybody who does anything, every prayer, every thought, I'm truly grateful for. That the problem with contacting Kristi Noem or Senator Thune is they're in South Dakota, and Morgan was last seen in Atlanta. And I can't get South Dakota to help because it's not their jurisdiction. They have absolutely nothing to do with it. And that's basically what they tell me. Thank you. I pray she comes home too. Thank you, Gina. Thank you, Leisha. Have a sweet night, Gail. Thanks, Shelley. If you send me a link on Messenger, I would appreciate it. Thank you, Gina. I'm aware of being careful with psychics. I can usually kind of tell people by just talking to them. Thank you. I love you too, Denise. Thank you. I love you too. Yes, we continue to hope that they do check and see if her social security number has popped up or if she's registered any vehicles in her name in the last year or done anything. But I can't guarantee whether they've done that or not. They don't answer and they don't share. I just wish I had that info. That's funny, Casey, because yes, TJ Ward was the private investigator, again, that I hired that was supposed to be a big help on the Natalee Holloway case, and that just turned into a disaster. When I am able to post a picture on here, I'll post an invoice from him so you can see the amount of work that he did. Yes, Tracy, I think she would snap and talk to her cousins too. In fact, when my daughter got to Minneapolis, she actually called my niece to tell her what she was doing. She trusted her, so she would have called. She wouldn't have stayed away. Good night, Veronica. Sweet dreams. We've done image searches on Google, and there hasn't been anyone pop up. Thank you. My daughter, Morgan Bauer, is missing. Thank you. Thank you for all the prayers. She did not get a driver's license in Georgia. She actually had to get her birth certificate and her social security card from me just so that she could get her ID in South Dakota to get on the plane to go to Georgia. Georgia. The last state that she was missing, or where she went missing, was in Georgia. Again, Morgan went there wanting to start a new life, wanting to do something, you know. She was very outgoing. She liked to show off. She liked to dance and sing and, you know, wanted to be a beautician, wanted to just kind of do everything. Everybody asked why she moved to Atlanta. She just happened to like urban gentlemen. And, you know, I really don't know exactly why Georgia, but I would guess, you know, it's becoming more popular and a little bit more exciting. A lot of movies being made there. And so her attention was just drawn to Georgia. She has been missing since February 25th, 2016. So just a little over a year and a half. Oops, I'm sorry. No, she didn't love the man on Craigslist. She stayed with him for one night and then was asked to leave. So we're not sure that there's a connection there with the Craigslist house. But this will be saved on the Missing Morgan page, so you'll be able to go back through it if you choose to. I don't know if anybody has any more questions. Or anything that I can do. I have some things, some gifts for anybody who would like them. If you just send me or message me your address, I have a picture and a bracelet that I'd be happy to send you. No donation needed. I just want people to remember and to look. She's my baby, and this is an everyday event for me. several times a day event for me. I'm just trying to trust that I'm doing the very best that I can, and I just need a little help. So if anybody is still willing to call tomorrow, again, Detective Brown, 404-546-4235. And again, the questions, are why? Why aren't you letting other departments and jurisdictions help? Why are you not speaking to the last people who were with Morgan? Why are you not returning calls from other police departments or Morgan's mother? Why have others done more due diligence under the table for Morgan's case than you have? I know, and again, I know this is time out of your day. Our days get busy. We have a lot of stuff going on. But I just ask just to take a minute out of your time. I promise you'll get sent a voicemail. So it shouldn't take too long. Yes, Morgan did just turn 21 in April. We had plans to go out and celebrate that day. So not hearing from her on her 21st birthday was a shock, because it's just not like her. It's just not like her. I'm sorry, I have to go back here a little bit. Good night, Shelley. Yes, Grandma always says she comes from Hardy stock. I will have to ask my mom about the picture. If you send me a link to Clinton Jennings, I would be happy to go there also. No, Morgan didn't know anyone in Atlanta. That's why she went to stay with someone on Craigslist. I used Craigslist a lot before she left. I bought vehicles off of there and things like that. So that's how she was familiar with Craigslist. I didn't really know that she used it. I definitely would have talked to her about that. We covered stranger danger since she was little. She had a secret word that she had to use every time that someone new picked her up from school, and that's one of the questions that I ask, because only she would remember what that word is. So I'm hoping when I hear that word, I will know it's her. She was 29 when she went missing. She's 21. I'm sorry, she was 19 when she went missing. She's 21 now. I can't share the names of the last people that saw her, unfortunately. The FBI, Atlanta Police Department, and their local police department know exactly who they are. And we know where they are. So that's something. Thank you all. I am, it's not really in me to give up on my kids. Morgan always said that if she ever got lost, I'd find her, and I will. I know I will. What are police detectives currently doing to find her? Nothing. That's why I'm here and asking people to please call. There's several other agencies, including the FBI, the GBI, that's the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, the local police department where her phone was actually last pinged to, as well as countless volunteers that are offering to help. Atlanta Police Department just has to say, yes, we'll invite you in. They say their caseload is overwhelming, but they're refusing the help that is being offered for free. So, and the other agencies have actually done more work towards her case than the Atlanta Police Department has. There have been no leads since. Nothing that has stuck, nothing at all. Just gone. Julia, I know everything sounds confusing, and that's why I read what I read tonight, because that's the timeline that we have. That's what we know happened. Beyond that, everything just goes completely cold. There's nothing else that is for sure and that we can prove. And that's, if you go back and read, I actually give you times and dates of everything. So that's basically what I read was a timeline. And if anybody wants to state what state you're in, that would be great. We would love to know who is from where, just so we get an idea of how far this is going. I'm praying we hit every state. I'm praying we hit every country, actually. AT&T, not doing a commercial for them. That's awesome, Amanda. If you know Morgan, then you know how silly and funny and amazing and like the sun when she walks into a room. I'm glad you had the opportunity to go to school with her. Yes, I thank you, Casey. I will find her. Yes, I know the FBI would help. They have offered to help. Literally, they have contacted Atlanta Police Department and asked if they could join the case and help with the case, and we're told no. In so many words. Thank you all for all of your prayers and all of your thoughts. I hope I did my daughter justice speaking for her today. I don't know why Atlanta Police Department are dragging their feet. Maybe they got mad because they told them they weren't doing their job. But they weren't doing their job. So I just kept asking why they're not allowing other people to help. I don't know, maybe too many phone calls. Nothing I'm going to apologize for. Thank you so much, Cassidy. I appreciate your thoughts. I don't know. How can they tell people not to help? They're telling me they have a full caseload. They have so many people offering to help, but they're refusing. I don't know how they can do that. I don't know why they would choose to do that. that's why I'm doing this. Mason is doing well. When we were in Atlanta, someone called me and told me a little story about how he was not doing very well, and that was a big decision on coming back. I had to choose whether to stay, not knowing what to do next, or to come home to my son, who was going through a lot at the time. Right now, he's doing very well. He, we talk all the time, and we have a good relationship, and he's an amazing kid. And so he's doing really good. We talk about it a little bit, but we keep it very open, and I really want to make sure that he doesn't feel like he's less important, or that Morgan's the only one in the spotlight, that he doesn't deserve attention. And so I'm really trying to balance emotions in my life, I guess, is the best way to say. No, I called Internal Affairs to ask them why they wouldn't invite the FBI in, and they finally decided to talk to the last people she spoke with, and that was 6 months later. I mean, I'm just a regular Joe, but I would say the first thing that you do in an investigation is talk to the last people that she was seen with. I just feel like that would be common sense. And I know I saw something about, girls like on the streets or dancers or stuff, that their stuff isn't taken quite as seriously. But you have to remember, Morgan wasn't a dancer when she left here. She worked at a restaurant, and she had been there for a year and a half. She left for a little while to go to another state to give it a try. But no, that wasn't Morgan, and she was a South Dakota girl that wasn't necessarily street smart. She had the biggest heart you could ever imagine, however, but I don't know if she knew what she was getting herself into. I have contacted different human trafficking hotlines and talked to different people. In fact, Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore have a foundation. I've contacted them. The problem is I can't prove that she was trafficked. I can't prove that she left Atlanta, Georgia. So because I can't prove that, it causes issues. I can't force the FBI to come in. If I could prove she crossed state lines, then that would be a federal thing, and then things would be different. However, I can't prove that she left Atlanta, and so the human trafficking people have told me that there's not much that they can do. I am not sure who the police commissioner or the mayor is. I know that one of the chief of police department, the local one where the boyfriend lives, tried to call the deputy chief. I know he told me the other day he could only imagine my frustration because it took him 4 hours to get information on Morgan. 4 hours for a policeman. He's, imagine, just a regular old Joe. Oh, thank you, Amanda. Not lately has Atlanta put her story or pictures out. The last time was on her birthday, which was April 13th. Or a few days after. Candace, that's so funny. Morgan actually had billboards up and was on NBC Nightly News. And she was on the Atlanta news stations quite a few times that we did. It's funny to me how many times I hear that nobody in Atlanta's heard of Morgan. And so that's why it's so important to keep telling people. I don't want people to forget her, because anybody that's ever met her, how could you? You know, she's one of the most amazing and beautiful people I've ever met in my life. And I'm not just saying that because I'm her mom. I don't know why they didn't talk to the last people she was seen with. I know when I called Internal Affairs last August, they talked to her, but I'm not sure if they talked to him. I do know who they are, and I have talked to them. That's how the police got their name and their information. Casey, my husband, and I actually had the opportunity to speak to both of them. There are tons of posters out. If you scroll down, you'll see all kinds of different posters. And anybody who's watching this that has created a poster, you're welcome to just post under this link as many posters as you want to, and then people can just share all of them. That would be great. I would appreciate that. Deirdre, I tried to contact one of the gals from the Atlanta News today, but didn't receive a call back. Thanks, Victor. I'm not allowed to tell you the last spot her phone was pinged to, for the simple fact that that is the same town that these people lived in. And again, I don't want people going around that area and harming any evidence. So I'm not telling their names or the town that Morgan's phone was last pinged to. The police know where it was. We know where it was. The FBI knows where it was. So we're just hoping that, again, like someone said, that we can light a fire under these people so that, you know, they feel like they don't have a choice but to do more. And that's what I want. I just want to do more. I don't. It's hard sitting here. You know, you feel so helpless. Morgan's life does matter. Thank you, Deborah. Gina, I will contact Dr. Phil. Yes, she went as Sasha as a dancer. Thank you, Gina. Honestly, I don't remember if I wrote to 2020 or not. Again, last year everybody I could think of, I sent emails to and messages and anybody. But if you send me a link, Stacy, I will be happy to ask them again. if I haven't spoken to them already. I know the last people she saw were shady. I'm not a person who judges people, but I know too much information about these individuals not to be concerned. Thank you, Melissa. Her phone has never been found since she went missing. However, they do believe the battery was taken out of it. The police, it is my understanding, got into her Facebook, but I'm not positive. Again, they don't give a lot of information. Thank you again for all of your prayers. I'm so grateful, and I know my mother is so grateful as well. We did talk to Jose. No, he hadn't spoken to her since August when they broke up. Morgan had been with her boyfriend, for, I'm thinking about 2.5 years. And after they broke up, she decided to go a little crazy and have a little fun. But who doesn't when they're 19, right? That's when you're supposed to have fun. You're supposed to go out and find yourself and figure out what you want to do and what you want to be, and fall in love with yourself. And that was Morgan saying, she just, she was just going to love herself because she knew that loving herself meant she was able to do whatever she wanted to. She was a very strong-willed girl. She is a very strong-willed woman. Thank you. Yeah, I'm sure Jose was bombarded with a lot of phone calls when this happened, and a lot of people wondering what was going on and whether he had anything to do with anything or if he knew where she was. So I'm sure that, he had to some point let go. It was a very difficult time. The chaos was overwhelming for everyone. And so, yeah, I would assume that he probably just kind of wanted to go off grid regarding Morgan just a little bit. Has surveillance been set up on these individuals? No. But they won't be hard to find. If you really want to find someone, all it takes is about 5 minutes. Unless it's my daughter. Just kidding. You have to laugh. You have to try to enjoy each day. Because if you sit here and feel sorry for yourself, you tend to get depressed. And when you get depressed, it's hard to get out of bed. And when you don't get out of bed, you can't get anything done. When you don't get anything done, you feel guilty because you know that there's work that needs to be done. And this is my daughter. And I just want to find her. Thank you all so very much for being here. We went a little over an hour, but there was a little bit of kinks in there. If there's any more questions, please keep posting here or send me private messages. I truly am grateful for all of your time and for all of your thoughts. I pray you have a wonderful evening, and thank you so much for tuning in for this time. And I'm always here if you need to talk too. it helps to take away me feeling bad about myself. I hope you have a great night. Hugs to you all. Blessings in love and light. Sending you all prayers and humble gratitude. Sweet dreams.